Hey, what's up, La Familia? You crazy football-loving nutters. This is Ray Hudson, and you are luxuriating in listening to the Inter Miami podcast with the stupefyingly magnificent Jay and Alex. Two lads who are as electrifying as a hairdryer thrown into a hot tub. Stay tuned, because you know what it's going to be. It's going to be magisterial with an amplifier.
The cross Campana! He's done it again! Taylor swings it for Victor Ulloa to finish one up. Ulloa and Taylor! Job done for Inter Miami! Landed in by Morte. What? 6! It's 2 for Miami! Damian Lowell doubles the lead! Some days you can just sense something wicked this way it comes.
Oh man, one more game to finish out the brutal month that is July. From the frying pan into the skillet, as they say, because we got another quite testing month coming up, but nothing but to look up from here, I guess, really, man. Nowhere but up to look, rather. We are still fighting on the cusp, fighting for that playoff spot, fighting for a huge win in our year one of sanctions, and we're going to get into all this in a little bit of time, man. But what's up, man? How we doing?
Good, man. I mean, like you said, looking forward to getting out of this month. You got to play the best, beat the best to be the best. And I'm not too disappointed with the showing we put in this weekend. We'll get into it here and, have some fun with it. We got another tough month coming up, and either our dreams are going to be crushed or we're going to be ecstatic. So either way, coming to a close, it feels like it's coming real quickly.
Well, it's good to hear that, you're not taking it as hard as so many of the fans on social media and whatnot. But yeah, it's let's just get out of here, man. We're looking at 3 wins, 1 draw, and 1 loss right now. As it stands, man, what I say? Sorry, that's way off. Sorry, we are 1 win, 3 losses, 1 draw. Man, I would have loved it if that was an accurate statement. So we definitely need to try and get a win here in our next game. But welcome everyone to the Inter Miami podcast. I am Jay Kington, joined by Mr. Than Harrington. As always, man. Anything new with you?
Nope. I mean, just really glad I didn't make that drive. I know you and I were talking about, I was thinking about going, would have had both kids and the wife. And right when we were getting ready to leave, I looked at the real field and it was like 102 in the Bronx. I'm like, nope, not doing that.
No.
And it was kind of funny, having it being Tati's last game. There was actually a lot of decent tickets for pretty cheap. So I'll cross Yankee Stadium off my bucket list at some point, but this year was not it.
Yeah, it was that was a hot day, even down here. And I know it was probably really, really muggy up there. But yeah, man, hey, what do? They're the MLS Cup champions, man. You can't overreact like all the other fans. I watched it, right? I mean, I was obviously out of town at the Chelsea game, which I'll tell you what, didn't go any better than the Inter Miami game. Well, unless you're an Arsenal fan, then it went absolutely phenomenal. But I was able to catch this game. Only saw like a little bit of it on my phone as we were going to the Camping World Stadium, but was able to rewatch it. And, we had some moments in there. We had some moments where we switched off for a bit, and it's all right. But we'll get into that, buddy. Why don't you kick us off here, and we'll work our way down this lovely, lovely outcome.
All right. Well, if you live under a rock, you would not know that we lost 2-0 to NYCFC. Lineup was pretty much what we thought it was going to be, knowing we had some issues with Lowe and Bryce Duke, and no CoCo Jean yet. Leo Campana down with the injury. So lineup was Calendar, McVeigh, Saylor, Gibbs, and Yedlin. Mota playing that, pivoting spot again. Pozuelo and Gregory, Vasilev, Gonzalo, and Robbie Taylor. When that lineup came out, I mean, like I said, I was 50-50 on it. I knew it wasn't going to get any better than that. Definitely couldn't get any worse. But if you're ever heading into a game, especially against the reigning MLS champions, with 2 goalkeepers on your bench for the game, it's not going to be a good time unless you have like super subs. But yeah, like I said, not overly disappointed with that lineup.
Yeah, it's tough, right? I mean, we're talking about Damian Lowe, who is the leader, the captain, if you will, of our back line. I mean, a crucial piece to our defense. We're also missing Bryce Duke. And, you know, even if you want to argue that Pozuelo gets to start regardless, you know, Bryce has been a nice piece that has not only made an impact when starting for us, but has come off the bench and made an impact. So we knew that wasn't going to happen. And then, of course, you know, Lassiter still down. He should hopefully be back fairly soon. I know they said he was like a week out. That was probably like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. My dates are all blurring. So, I mean, you hit the nail on the head, bud. This is about as best of a lineup we could put out. I think there's a really big misconception with some of our fans that might not really know all the players on the first team, or, you know, like watch IMCF2, right? We're not deep. We're dealing with sanctions and we're not deep. So you talk about injuries, you talk about yellow card suspensions, and, you know, it can hurt. And you mentioned it. I didn't, you know, I mentioned last year, but of course, and we're out Campana, right? Our leading goal scorer. And we don't really have anyone else that's a sure thing in terms of a goal scoring threat. I mean, Higuain's the second best one we have, and he is half the goals of Campana. So, I mean, it's tough, man. It's tough. If you don't have someone else to score or a lot of threats in the attack, I mean, this is kind of the result. You're going to grind it out. Hopefully you can get back in it. But, I mean, this was expected.
Well, and, you know, talking about the lack of depth, if you don't follow as closely as some of us do, Noah Allen ended up getting minutes towards the end of the first team match and flipped the script the next night and was starting down for Inter Miami 2 against NYCFC 2. So, I mean, if that doesn't prove to you that we have a depth issue, I don't know what will at this point. I mean, Sean Hundal was brought up to possibly play. He didn't get out there. But then he turned right back around. He was back down for Inter Miami 2 as well. So we got our young guns pulling double duty. You know, we really need this injury bug to subside pretty quickly, or it could be a rough finale for the season.
I agree. I completely agree with everything you're saying there, man. And you know, hey, we'll look forward, and we know that we're going to have at least Damian Lowe back as well as a Bryce Duke for this next one. But yeah, man, it can be very tough at times. And when you're lending players like back and forth, like even Noah going to IMCF2, was that because, you know, there's also a little bit of a lack of depth on there? We're just trying to get him back to fitness. Sean Hundal did get his second like short-term loan, but same exact result as the first one. Phil doesn't play him. I thought Gonzalo looked fairly good in this match. Attitude seemed quite well. He seemed to be moving a bit more than, you know, we were accustomed to in last season. But man, like why bring him up if you're not going to give the kid a shot? And then I know we were talking about the overreacting fans in the Barcelona game, and specifically around, like, you know, Harvey Neville and Romeo Beckham, and I was like who else should have got playing time? And then you know, I was discussing this with like Peter Brown and Ed. They were doing their show, Football Miami TV, and the conversation got around it as well. And someone said something pretty obvious, like Sean Hundal should have got some time. And I'm like, yeah, I actually completely agree with that. I think you and I both like Sean as far as, you know, some of the best players we have on the second team squad, but you never know, man. You got to get the guy some experience.
Well, and, you know, I know I touched on it. You touched on it. We were half joking about it, but it was kind of head scratching for me to see Phil bring Jovan Jones out in the attack. Like we've been joking about seeing him down there at the striker spot in Inter Miami too. And then all of a sudden he comes out and I'm like, wait, bring Sean out. No, you have Sean, bring him out. I mean, I'm not going to sit here again. We're not going to overreact. That's not who we are. But at the same time, it's that one right there doesn't bode well for the fan base confidence, at least in my opinion. Yes, Jovan Jones brings a veteran presence to the field when you need it the most, but you got to let the young gun run. Let him go. Let him get some meaningful minutes.
Yeah. And we conceded a goal in the first half. Looked like we were going to concede two. They actually finally did call one offside. But even this first goal was a bit controversial. A lot of people think Pozuelo was fouled. A lot of people think, Maxi Morales was offsides in this. But not to spoil it, we had some chances to draw it level. Robbie Taylor just continues to impress with his footwork. I like this little kind of kick, stop, go action he's doing. And he kind of reversed it from the goal he had against Charlotte, where he kicked it back to his left foot, kicked it again forward instantly, and got right around the right back too. He had a shot. He hit it wide, difficult shot. Moda was in the middle complaining for the ball, but on a breakaway like that, you're going to take the shot and try and get off whatever you can. I don't think he even saw Moda making his late run in there. But why don't you walk us through the goals in this one?
All right, yeah. So it was a cagey affair to start. I was actually kind of impressed how well the team came out and responded to playing on the tiny field at Yankee Stadium. But being a magical night in the Bronx, Tati was going to have his way. He was going to put some impact on the game. 13th minute, Tati found Maxi Morales with a through ball. Again, we can talk about the controversy all we want, but I think just for our sake, we're going to move forward on it. Maxi was able to, I think he nutmegged Kieran Gibbs, if I remember correctly, and just put it past Drake.
He nutmegged
for
Drake.
The initial goal.
It went right through Drake's legs.
Oh, yeah, he didn't. Yeah, he nutmegged Drake. So,
which I think Drake in that instance thinks you're probably going to go high or try and chip him. So I don't even think he was considering just a really low driven ball, like a little worm burner as we call him, but it went right through his legs.
Well, especially if you watch a lot of the strikers nowadays, they're going to go at you from that angle and then they're going to try and bend it back far post on you because they know you're not going to have the coverage to get back there. So, it's not one of the ones that you and I usually celebrate from the opponent. We appreciate would be the better word, not celebrate. Is what it is.
Yeah, I respect Maxi quite a bit actually. I really do like him. I think he's a creator and he's an attacker and he's an exciting player to watch. This is just one of those goals where hey, he's one of the guys who can do it to you. And tough goal, because like you said, you're pulling it back, you try and go up top or go near post, and he just goes right through his leg. So a little tough, but we move on.
Yeah. After that, Inter Miami seemed to respond a little bit. There was a lot of times we were on our back foot, but it was funny to me. I noticed Kieran Gibbs was getting up and being able to run scot-free pretty much up his side to the point where he was getting some pretty decent shots on goal.
Mm-hmm.
One of these times Gibbs is going to score one of these. You already touched on Robbie Taylor had a couple chances. Pozuelo put in some beautiful balls that just missed a foot ahead or behind. At that point, I kind of conceded, at least half myself conceded that it wasn't going to be our night. But the other half was like, all right, we just need to get to the 85th minute. And here we go. This will be our game.
Yeah, right.
But 75th minute, there was a low cross. I believe it took a deflection off of Sailor. And it found Haber, who was just in the back, right place, right time. He headed it in. I think he headed it in. It was just, doesn't matter. It was a goal that broke the camel's back on that one. And then NYCFC went into Burnley mode, played Burnley ball for the last remaining minutes of the match, and that was it. 2-0.
Yeah. Look, this game, opened up a bit. We had our moments. We had our moments. Eber is going to be the heir apparent to Tati Castellanos. I think him and Talos Magno will be the ones who kind of fill that void. And I would assume they probably try and bring in another maybe DP level or, maybe high TAM level type of striker into the mix here. But, one of the things that caught my eye and, again, I didn't watch it, real time and wasn't really interacting with everybody like we usually do during game time. But Pozuelo, like, running all over the place, but not really too involved. He had a few moments where, he was silky smooth, but for the most part, I feel like he never really became part of the game. And that's definitely something that we need to see happen, right? He's our shiny new toy. We all know the quality of player he is at this point, MVP level. And, second, real game playing, it's going to take some time, but hopefully he settles in, gets his cohesion up with the teammates, and we can really start to get a little more lethal and clinical.
Well, I attribute that too, though, and the commentating crew on Yes brought this up, that Pozuelo had absolutely tore NYCFC to shreds when he was with Toronto over the past few matches. Yeah. So they kind of leaned into the fact that, hey, they're going to target their defensive mindset and pressure to Pozuelo, knowing that we're going to rely on him to get our attack moving. And honestly, they did a good job of isolating him, frustrating him, not giving him the space to work with a purpose. And yeah, I mean, as much as I hate Citigroup, and I don't think that's a secret to anybody, I mean, they came in with a plan, they executed it, and that was it. That's all she wrote.
Yeah. All right, well, update with some stats, bud.
All right, so we're going to go Inter Miami to NYCFC. Possession was 54-46. We got outshot 11-18 with shots on goal 4-6. We outpassed them 631 to 534. So it was a very fluid game. The ball was flying all over the park. It was definitely a fun one to watch. Corners was 3-4. Equal on saves 4-4. Fouls were 8-7. And the one stat, as we always only care about, was that yellow card. It's 1-0 to us. Yeah, I mean, for me,
1-0 Cincy. I mean, what am I talking about? Cincy. NYCFC at the yellow card.
My bad. Yes, they did. All right, so we lost that. So we look at that. We didn't even win the yellow card battle.
That's frustrating. That's always ours. That's the one thing we can rely on.
Yeah, I mean, at least it wasn't a red this time, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But so looking back at it, like I said, positives from the match: we were flowing, we were moving, we were running, we were gunning, we were, we looked like we could do something. We just never. Again, I don't want to overuse the phrase here, but moved with a purpose. We never. This would have been Campana's game to get one of those balls that flew into the box and just dunk it in. Even if it doesn't get past Sean Johnson, even if it gets a deflection, that could have been just a game changer in itself. Positive, again, Gonzalo, he looked great. I can't believe I'm saying that, but he moved. He ran around the box. He was, dare I say, coaching up players while he was on the field. Like, instead of throwing the hands up, and he did a few times, but, if there was a ball that was made, he was clapping, putting the thumbs up. He was doing what he could to get the team out of a sticky situation. And obviously the negatives were just the apparent lack of communication between the squad that showed up for the defensive back line. It's clear that they don't play a lot of ball together all the time. And I'm not saying that Lowe is like that magical cure-all to that line, but as you alluded to earlier, he is that captain. He is that calming presence. He is that X factor out there. And I guess the only other negative I would bring from the game is Yedlin's play. And it's really easy to be critical of him. He was like someone that was supposed to come in and help ease our defensive woes, help be a leader, help do everything that we lacked on the defensive line. And he just kind of fell to the shadows this past week. He was there. That's all you can really say.
Yeah. And one thing that caught my eye, especially in the first half, and like Mota finished with not a bad passing accuracy percentage. It was like 90.6, but he made some pretty bad passes in the first half. That was just like, what are you doing? What are you trying to do over here? So yeah, a little tough, but again, man, I mean, we're really missing some of the key players in the squad. So we'll look to change that this week, because at least, the opponents get a little easier, but hey, This is an interesting year for Cincinnati. So we'll get into that. But before we do, man, let's break down some power rankings and where we currently stand, where our competition stands.
All right, man. Well, fresh off the presses from MLS.com, power rankings are out. 22nd, we're down 4 from last week. You and I keep touching on this. We're a little harsh. They're a little harsh on us when it comes to rankings. We could have a 3-0 win against NYCFC. I think we would drop 4.
We seem to hover right around that 18 to 25 mark. That's just our comfort zone, or what we can call our home. It seems to always be right in there.
Yeah, no, I agree. I live for the day where all of a sudden we jump to the top 10. I don't know what I'll do then. But anyways, so who are we currently behind? Houston's in 21st, Charlotte is in 20th, and Toronto is in 19th, who we will definitely be talking about here in a few minutes. Colorado is behind us in 23rd. Atlanta is in 24th, and Vancouver is in 25th. Not really too shocked about any of the teams that are around us. I don't think we deserve to be ahead of any team in particular, or, I don't think any team should be leapfrogging us.
Like Toronto just did. Give them 2 Italians, 1 win, and all of a sudden, boom, they're up there.
Yeah.
Top 20,
baby. Don't steal my thunder. We're going to talk about it in a bit.
My bad.
But, getting through the power rankings, Jay, why don't you walk us through the Eastern Conference stuff?
Yeah, so currently sitting in 11th place in the Eastern Conference with 25 points. Still, I think we both expected a loss here. Let's be honest. I don't think we were expecting to go up to NYCFC. We're not really good on the road, and then of course beat the reigning MLS Cup champions. But still compact, man. And this is what makes it really, really exciting. But we're currently behind Charlotte. They have 26 points, but notably, they also have played one more game than us, so one game in hand. Chicago is now ahead of us. And, as much as that kind of does hurt, it's good to see them getting back to Chicago-style play. They're in 9th place, 26 points. Notably, also have a game in hand. And the New England Revolution are in 10th, which is just above us with 26 points. However, they do not have a game in hand. So we are level right there as far as games played. But as you notice, the 3 teams above us all had 26. So depending on how this next week goes and some other love from around the Mount Olympus of soccer gods, we could have a little substantial jump here.
We definitely could. And I actually had to double check myself as I was writing those notes. I was like, oh, Charlotte, 26. Okay. Chicago, 26. Wait, New England, 26. Wait, what the hell? And it just happened to work out that the wins and the ties were just enough to make it so we're sitting in 11th.
Yeah.
And that shows you. And one thing I wanted to say about that, and I know there were some folks complaining amongst our very well-versed fan base, but this is what makes this league fantastic. I love a league like this. Don't give me a Bundesliga or a League One where PSG and Bayern run away with it every year by 85 points. Give me a league where 1st and 11th are only separated by 9 points, and it's anybody's ball game until someone hits a perfect run of form at the right time. So, as much as we're saying it could be a rough end of the year, it could be a great end of the year for all we know. There's a lot of room to maneuver here still.
Yeah, I think spots 5 through 7 are going to be pretty contested throughout the season. The top 3 teams are you can even say top 4 teams, honestly. We'll go ahead and include Montreal. They're doing all right, but especially Philadelphia with 42 points, NYCFC with 41 points. I do want to note though, so right above Charlotte, sitting in the 7th spot, sitting right above the playoff line, is Cincinnati, who we will be playing this weekend, and they have 28 points. So if we can go out, fingers crossed, get a win against Cincinnati, we would be basically level with them as far as points go. I'm sure we're still getting absolutely massacred on the points differential. Really only in the East Conference, DC has a worse goal differential than us. And then just to have fun. Western Conference, Kansas City sitting at the bottom with a -21, and Vancouver in the 10th spot with a -13. So it looks like 3 teams have a worse goal differential than us. Now, who are we ahead of, right? Some other teams that are struggling. We're talking about Atlanta, Toronto, and DC. Atlanta's in 12th with 24 points. Toronto 13th with 22 points. 1 game in hand, though. DC United in 14th place with 18 points. And they've only played 20 games. So we have a game in hand on DC. I think I could probably speak for us both here. I know I was just kind of making fun of the MLS power rankings, but Toronto did look pretty darn good with their new Italian friends. We're talking about Lorenzo Insigne and I can't remember what Bernardeschi's first name is. Federico or Federico?
I believe it's Federico.
Federico Bernardeschi. And yeah, man. And they came out. Bernardeschi got a goal. Insigne had an assist. I think Bernardeschi might have also had an assist if I'm not mistaken, but that's good on them, right? I know it's been tough on Toronto these past couple of years, but that is something that we're gonna have to keep an eye on and we're gonna monitor because they can really close this up. We could have a bad game and if we lose against Cincinnati and they win, boom, they're gonna jump us off goal differential right there. It looks like so. Here we are, though. This is what makes it fun. This is what makes it fun. Now, tell us about the supporter shield and where we're standing with that.
Yeah, I mean, as we allude to almost every episode, this is pretty much a foregone conclusion, but we are sitting in 22nd place. We are currently behind Vancouver, New England, and Houston in 19th, 20th, and 21st, respectively. And we are ahead of Atlanta at 23rd, Colorado, 24th, and Toronto, 25th. So, not too much discussion has to happen around this. It is what it is. It's pretty much a foregone conclusion with this.
Well, at least they're being consistent with the power rankings and the supporter shield standings, both at 22nd. So props to that.
Yeah. But talking about rankings, talking about stats, talking about all this, the one thing that we need to monitor for the rest of the season is the playoff predictions. And we have the percentage brought to you by 538.com. As of 7:24, when we did the notes for the episode, it was at 23% likelihood that we would make the playoffs. So we're not dead yet, but the heartbeat's slowing.
I wonder, I don't know exactly how all this is calculated. That's probably too much maths for my head, but I wonder how much it jumps. If let's say hypothetically we do come out and beat Cincinnati, who has a pretty damn good squad now after suffering for 5 years straight. I wonder what the percentage jump will be, right? So 23%. FC Cincinnati is only 30%, so that's something to keep an eye on. But yeah, we'll track this throughout the end of the season. Oh man, go up to the top here. LAFC, NYCFC, Philadelphia, all with above 99%. Austin FC with 99%, and then the Red Bulls with 96%. Montreal actually 94%. Then a pretty steady drop off to the 70s.
What's pretty crazy? As bad as both Sporting Kansas City and DC have played, they're both not dead yet.
Yeah,
Sporting Kansas City has less than 1% chance of making it, but they're not dead yet. And DC sitting at 3%. So, I mean,
let's extrapolate further. So we're at less than 1% for a first round bye. We're at less than 1% for the supporter shield. And we're also at less than 1% to win the MLS Cup. So let's find out what the odds are and just slap on $100 each just to have fun.
I don't know if I'll be sleeping in my own bed if I do that bet at this point. But you know what? We've said it before. We've said it again. Making the playoffs would be the ultimate goal for this season, especially after we were going to be left for dead. Technically, by all accounts, we should be in DC United shoes right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so we move on, man. So we keep fighting, keep moving on. We got Cincinnati next. About to get into this, but real quick, just to kind of give a little preview to what August is going to look like. So after we play Cincinnati, we did get a pretty San Jose, right? We feel Phil, that's going to be a good game. We feel comfortable with that. We're happy we're playing them, but then it's going to just ratchet up, and we're getting Montreal, NYCFC, the revamped new Toronto, and then we're going up to New York, which you'll be at that game to play the Red Bulls, and then we wrap up August with Columbus. So another 6-game week, 6 MLS games. We had 7 total games this week, 6 MLS, and then not week, month, and then of course that one Barcelona game that everyone's still insanely bitter at and still thinks it was the worst decision ever by the front office. But whatever, grow up. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into Cincinnati, buddy.
All right. So next match, we are playing Cincinnati at our Fortress Drive Pink Stadium. It will be played on July 30th at 8:00. Who's Cincinnati? Thanks for asking. They were founded in 2016 as a USL side. In 2018, they were approved as an MLS expansion squad. This is insane to me, Jay. As a USL team, they averaged 25,000 fans per game, including a match against Indy 11 in 2018, where they had 31,487 fans in attendance for a USL match.
That hurts. Yeah. That's insulting. And we're what's our average attendance? Like 12,000, 13,000, because Miami fans are just toxic.
And that was on Publix free recycling bag night, I assume, anyways. But anyways, they also in 2018 won the USL regular season. They were poised to win the championship and got knocked out in the quarterfinals by New York Red Bull 2. So, I mean, they weren't just a team that had a good backing. They were a team that had good backing and had a good product on the field. By all accounts, from when I was researching their USL years, it was apparently it was a fun time to go out and watch them. But anyways, 2019 inaugural season, they kicked things off. They play in the house that Breck Shea built, TQL Stadium. They also played in, and I apologize if I get this wrong, is it Nippert Stadium?
I like Nippert.
All right, we're gonna go with Nippert just because you want me to say Nip. All right. The nickname, Orange and Blue. I double check, triple check. That's their nickname, the Orange and Blue.
They lack so much creativity, like that that little chant video.
Yeah,
it's cringe. It's cringe. It's cringe.
However, I like the Orange and Blue better than I do the Pigeons.
I mean, I like Orange and Blue if it is the same shade of Auburn. I hate Orange and Blue if it is that hideous combo the Gators roll with.
So what you meant to say was you love Orange or Blue if it's like the same shade that like Syracuse wears, and then it's okay if Auburn wears it, but Florida, I mean, the Gators suck. Let's just put it out there. Getting back to football, trophies won, as I said, they were regular season champs in the USL in 2018, have not won anything in the highest level of North American football. All-time series versus us, we have won 4 times. We have never drawn, and Cincy has won 1, which I do believe was the beginning of this season. Was that not the beatdown we suffered early on?
Yeah, that was the 4th game, lost 3-1. I mean, they got some, obviously they got like Brenner last season, really big money signing, but they acquired Lucho Acosta. Lucho Acosta, I think, 2 years ago or something. So he's really coming into his own. Like he's one of my favorite players to watch in the MLS now. Dude is an absolute stud. Also, Brandon Vasquez, who is really doing everything he can to make a case for himself to get a shot with the men's national team come World Cup time. He can score. Brenner looked like he was wanting out and wanted to be traded back to Brazil. And then all of a sudden he started balling and doing what everyone expected. And Lucho Acosta has been doing basically everything there and in between. Incredibly sharp, decisive, gorgeous attacker, creative. I mean, I got nothing but high praise for him. So this is not the same team that, we played the previous 2 years. This is not the same team that's been struggling in the MLS since 2019. As much fun as, the league has and the media has with FC Cincinnati with like back-to-back wooden spoons would have been a third, but I don't think did one, was it last year, the COVID year or whatever. So it does at least give hope to Inter Miami, who is struggling and under sanctions, that it's never too late. It's never too late to get the squad you need and improve and get the results here. But yeah, man, it should be a fun game. I know we want revenge. We had to go up to CQL Stadium and lose to them, which was tough. Everyone came into that game a bit cocky given our previous results to Cincinnati. I'll say more so the fans being cocky, or the analysts, the media, stuff of that nature. I don't think the players were necessarily being cocky, but yeah, we want revenge here. It should be a pretty exciting game. We do expect, obviously, we'll have Bryce Duke back. We'll have Damian Lowe back, so we'll be okay there. We'll keep our eyes posted on Ari Lassiter. Also keep our eyes posted on Campana. Don't really know the extent of the Campana injury, or if he's going to miss more time. I'll certainly look to ask Phil that in this week's press conference. But those are definitely certainly things to keep our eyes on.
Yeah, no, absolutely. One thing I wanted to note about Brenner, and I didn't really realize this until I was looking at his stats, I think it was a couple weeks ago for fantasy, actually. Brenner is becoming a well-rounded player. He's not just the attacking threat they were looking for. I think he's equal in attacking and assists, which is something that I know he struggled with last year because they were trying to put a lot of the offensive burden on him. And so he was looking to be selfish rather than looking to link up with others. So I don't know. That's going to be something we're going to have to keep an eye out on. And then, our attackers are going to have to deal with Nick Hagland. I mean, it's not really a household name, but I got a lot of respect for what Hagland does on the defensive back line. He's a stalwart that leads that Cincinnati back line. He's been through it all. I respect the work ethic he has and just the nose to the grindstone mentality that he brings out every single time.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. No, he's sturdy. He's sturdy. And just to kind of piggyback on your Brenner comments, what was that NYCFC game? He scored what with his right, scored with his left, scored with a back heel. That dude is really becoming a serious threat. We'll see what happens, man. I mean, we've seen crazier things. Does a hot streak change his mind about maybe wanting to stay in the league or stay with Cincinnati? I mean, the front office probably doesn't want to let him go. They paid quite a bit of money for him. Or does he go back to Brazil? So that's definitely something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, absolutely. And one fun note I wanted to bring out about Cincinnati is they're actually partnered with Hoffenheim in the Bundesliga as like an exchange. I don't want to say like foreign exchange club or something like that, but they have like a mutual agreement. No, it's more of like a mutual agreement. Like, hey, it's helping expand the game in the U.S. and also helping open up the Bundesliga to some markets that might not be in as well as others in the U.S. And then they are also partnered, and I think it's more of like what you were saying. They're partnered with another club in Ghana called Heart of Oak SC. So, good on them. They're expanding the football to different regions, helping the MLS get out there, and in terms helping other clubs get out there as well. Flipping to the question that everybody wants the answer to, Jay. What is your match prediction for this game?
I'm going to go 2-1 Inter Miami on this. I think Lucho or Vasquez probably gets a goal, but I know we've been going against them, hoping for the best, but I really think we need to win this game. This is I'm not going to say must win, but a very, very crucial game to win. And we're going against an opponent that has a lot of weapons now and can be very dangerous and can be very fast in their transitions. But I do think that with the players back, Pozuelo getting settled in a bit more, and I'm going to go ahead and base this on Campana coming back. If we can get our guy back, then I think that we have a serious shot at home to go 2-1. Now, question is, are these two goals going to come after the 85th minute? Or can we get something early on and just give us a little bit of a safety net here?
I'm going to go 3-2 Inter Miami. I am going to also go on and say that Pozuelo opens up his bank account in this match.
Ooh, spicy.
And I'm also going to say that we go into the half down 2-1. Now, I know there's a lot of, pulling a rabbit out of the hat there and saying, "Oh, he's," I mean, we could throw darts as a dartboard all we want, but this is why I'm saying that. If you watch Cincy play, they play hot to start. Look at the NYCFC game. They play hot to start. They get to half and they fall apart, or they think they're at halftime and then they fall apart. I think they get up 2-0, 2-1 on us. We go into half, we make the adjustments, and then the boys come out and dominate the second half, and we go home happy with a 3-2 win. Doesn't help goal differential, but it helps us in the standings.
Also, notably, on the press conference on Thursday, CoCo Jean, which I would have to assume means that we have his visa completed. And so now we get a new toy. So now I could see him being subbed on. I think we got to loan him out a little bit to Inter Miami 2, just to get his experience. I know it's not the same as like the first team MLS league, but at least kind of get him somewhat more accustomed and familiar. But this will be exciting because we are going to have a new addition, which I'm not going to say he's Lucho Acosta, but he is pretty fast. He can really thread in some nice through balls. He's quick and get on the end of balls. I think he's going to add another layer of creativity to the team. So keep your eye on that. We'll be updating everybody on Thursday, real time as we participate in the press conference. Check out Twitter for updates. Yes, but fair assessment and very good point on you, because you are absolutely right. They start hot and then they kind of temper down. So, and as you know, we start cold. We really finish cold, and then in the last second, we just ramp it up. And
it's kind of like it's kind of like a hot pocket. It's cold. It's really cold. It's super cold, and then all of a sudden, where you think, okay, it might be okay, it's scalding hot, and you're going to the ICU because your burns are all over the place. Like, I can't believe I just compared our team to a hot pocket.
Well,
I mean,
yeah, it was like we're a chicken pot pie. Like you're going to burn your mouth 10 times out of 10 because we're impatient and we can't wait. And that's just the way it is.
Yeah. So let's take a look across the league. This week, I think I am going to be watching 2 games in particular. Montreal versus NYCFC. It's 4th versus 2nd in the East, with Montreal obviously in 4th and NYCFC in 2nd. The big one for me and why I want to watch is it's going to be the first game without Tati. Between episodes, between the end of our game and this current recording, Tati officially was loaned out through the City Football Group bullshit umbrella, where he's getting loaned to Manchester City and then he's getting loaned to Girona, but City's paying his wages and Girona get him for free. But then at some point he could come back to NYCFC. I don't know, whatever. I just want to see how the team responds. And then Toronto versus New England. We keep touching on this, but I actually watched the Toronto game. Let me tell you what, Toronto was bumping. BMO Field was absolutely el fuego. They were doing the Viking skull chant. They were doing, the supporter groups were getting the entire stadiums into it. When Michael Bradley went off for what I believe is going to be goal of the week for him.
Yeah, that was fire.
Like, I even got cold chills. And like you said, it's good for the league to have Toronto back moving and grooving.
It's good for the league to have chip shots. Chip shots are good for the league, especially by the old man Bradley. He probably felt like he was 22. I didn't know he could still move that fast. That man hit a burst.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. You and I could have moved that fast in that atmosphere. Because that place, well, like I said, that place was moving. Lucy walked in. She kind of peeked in. She goes, "Oh, I thought you were watching a Premier League replay," because that's what the stadium sounded like, and it was awesome. It was awesome to watch.
Fair.
And the other thing I wanted to bring out real quick from that Toronto game, which kind of helps us in terms of the standings, is Fuchs got that red card towards the end of the Toronto-Charlotte match, so he will not be available for their upcoming match, which he's that linchpin of a defense for a team that's floundering. So hopefully that ends up boding in our favor. But who are you watching this week, Jay?
I'm gonna kind of cheat a little bit here, right? I'm gonna give you the MLS game I'm watching, but there's some other games I'm gonna be watching that are I guess not necessarily in the MLS regular season, but the game I'm gonna be watching is Friday, LAFC versus Seattle. Seattle's obviously struggled quite a bit this season after really committing to the CONCACAF Champions League, but these are two of the best teams in the Western Conference, have been for probably since LAFC started. Honestly, they just came in and were pretty dominant and effective right away. So that should be a pretty fun game. But like tonight, by the time people hear this tomorrow morning, it'll be too late. But the Canadian Championship is tonight, and we're talking about Toronto and Vancouver. And yeah, I mean they get a little hype up there for the game, so it should be a pretty good environment. But then of course, man, tomorrow, watching our boy Lewis Morgan hopefully take down Orlando City in the U.S. Open Cup. And then on the flip side of that, after that, so that's going to be at 7:30. At 10:30, Sacramento Republic versus Kansas City. Everyone loves the underdog in the Sweet 16, hopefully making it to the Elite 8, right? And that's what this is. That's what this feels like. This is what the beauty of these domestic cups are, man, is that anyone could win. I mean, statistically speaking, the MLS teams are going to win. But, Kansas City been a little sketchy this season. So this is really all they have. Sketchy. Yeah, this is really all they have. Like, they're going to put all their eggs in the basket for this one. But if Sacramento can somehow pull this off, the only thing that would be better than New York just kicking Orlando out would be if it was Sacramento taking Orlando down and winning the Open Cup. So that's what I'm watching this week. That's what I'm excited about.
Dude, and I'm going to bring you back a few episodes now. I still want my dream to happen where Lewis hits the goal like at the death, runs up to the camera, peels the top of his jersey up to has a white shirt that says Florida is pink. Like, I'm still holding on to that.
I don't think his team would appreciate that, but that would be pretty epic.
Yeah, but I mean, he's our boy. Jokes aside though, Sacramento taking down Orlando would give us so much firepower. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Just at least we didn't lose to our USL side. Anyways, let's look at a couple of the headlines across the league before we get wrapped up. Bale got on the score sheet, opened up his bank account versus Sporting Kansas City. Press overhyped it. It was a good goal, don't get me wrong, but it was not a world class.
They're going to overhype that. They're going to overhype that. It was a good goal, but you're right.
Yeah, but it was like last week where they were like, "Oh my God, Gareth Bale takes his first touches in the MLS," and it was like some pretty, like, I've seen Robbie Taylor, some of the guys make some of those passes. I'm like, okay, like it is what it is.
Yeah.
Anyways, Reynoso still injured from Minnesota, but Minnesota won without him, and they're currently unbeaten in 6. So that's an interesting development for the Loons. There's not much in the way of news from the team about how long he's going to be out for.
I don't know. I just feel like it's tough, right? Reynoso, such a stud. And you don't want to see Reynoso get injured, especially when he's just having a great, streak in the MLS. But was it worth it? Was it worth murdering Everton? And I think it was. Yeah, I think it was worth murdering Everton. Like that was probably a big booster in confidence for Minnesota, who have been playing quite well. I want to say I don't think they've lost since we beat them. I think they've only won and drawn. Of course, it's not the Minnesota podcast, so don't, crucify me for not knowing the exact stats, but they've been really stepping it up. So, hey, if you got to murder an EPL team that a lot of people like to make fun of, you got to do what you got to do, man.
I mean, I think that's one of the things that keeps us united in our EPL channel and our Discord group is just our I love to rip on Everton.
I mean, they are the best team in Liverpool. Like we can all agree on that.
Yeah, no. I mean, I don't know of another team in Liverpool, to be honest. I mean, unless it's like a beer league side, I haven't heard of it. But we pick on Everton just as much as we pick on Spurs. So gotta love watching them go down. Moving on, Red Bulls, as we previously talked about, they put out a statement win over Austin 4-3. Austin was flying high, and the boys in red brought them to a grinding halt. And the most important and absolutely insane.
No. I'll take this one.
Well, but let me lead into it. The amount of insanity that happened on my phone between 9 a.m. this morning and 3:30 p.m. today over this piece of news, between going here, going there. Oh, no, Fabrizio says he's going over here. Nope, Seattle has his discovery rights, blah, 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 blah. It was insane, but go ahead, take your boy.
So I got to do it, right? I feel a responsibility of this, so I'm going to go ahead and do it. But the Luis Suarez saga is over. He is signing with Nacional, which I know he's pretty excited about. So, it looks like he won't be coming as I thought that he was going to come so that we could secure Leo Messi. But he is going back to Nacional, where he really started his career. Really put himself on the map there before moving on to some bigger clubs. So he is signing with them. So it's over for now. It's over for now. We can still get him in the winter window. Don't give up hope. We can still get Luis Suarez come wintertime, okay? But it's over for now.
I don't see him coming, dude. I mean, listen, if you had your chance to go to a project like our squad or to return to your boyhood club where you got your start, to be able to play for the team that really launched, I shouldn't say launched your career, but in the way they did, because, their academy has really pushed him to what he is. I would take this all day long. I mean, maybe it's just me not wanting him to ever come here. But hey, good for him. Glad he is not coming our way. But if you weren't paying attention, go on Twitter, look at the absolute chaos. It was Nashville, it was Seattle, it was NYCFC, it was LAFC, and then all of a sudden Seattle held his discovery rights, and then maybe Inter Miami was getting back into it, and then all of a sudden no one was getting into it, and then so spare the details, but go ahead and take a look on Twitter. I'm sure it's readily accessible.
Yeah, it's over for now.
No, it's over. Just like Messi's never coming here. Inter Miami news. The Inter Miami 2 side drew NYCFC 2-2. A lot of twos in that. Hundal and Borgelin actually scored within 3 minutes of each other. There was actually a really nice. I don't know. They were getting pushed around a little bit. It was 2-0, and I was like, all right, well, I'll turn it on for a couple minutes. Hundal went up the field, scored a beautiful one, and then they caught NYCFC napping, kind of like Morales caught Calendar with like a little quick dink between his legs to score. We flipped it on them. It's a good match. It helped keep them in pace with the top 4 clubs in the MLS Next Pro. Their next match is actually the day after ours against FC Cincinnati 2. They are currently, I believe, 5th out of 10 in the MLS Next Pro standings for the Eastern Conference, and it is a 4-team make it into the playoff situation. So they're right there. They're looking pretty good. It's not easy for them with the amount of times we loan from or ship people out, like Eddie out to El Paso Locomotive. So, good on them. I hope they keep moving forward. Keep being a bright spot for, the academies and everybody else, because definitely doing better than last year when they were Fort Lauderdale FC.
Yeah, man. Sometimes you just need a rebrand, and then it's a clean slate. You get it off. Right. Well, bring us home with OnlyThans, man, but keep your shirt on this time.
I don't know if I can do that. It's almost like I have to take my shirt off now. So question number 1, Jay. And this was actually from last week, and I didn't see this, so I just want to preface that. Do you think that Baptist Health has an agreement where they take all the heart attack patients from the final minute winner games at free or reduced pricing?
Yeah, right. I like that. Yeah. Insurance won't cover it, but the club will. It's fine.
Yeah. There's a game coming up against San Jose, as we already touched on, 10:30 p.m. 10:30 p.m. kickoff. I know my answer. Are you staying up to watch this game?
I'll stay up to watch that game.
I appreciate it.
Let me find where are we? I gotta figure out what day it is. Is it Saturday or Sunday?
For what?
For the game. For the
I'm fairly certain it's a Wednesday match, dude.
Oh yeah, that's right. There's 6 games. There's gonna be some midweek games. Let me just let's just double. Oh gosh, on a Wednesday. I mean, yeah. What's 8-3? Is that a Wednesday? I think that's a Wednesday.
Yeah, it's a Wednesday.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay up for it because why not? Whatever.
Okay.
Well,
right.
Thursday will be a little rough, but it's fine. Yep, it's a Wednesday. 10:30, man.
All right. So we're going to preface that now with Jay staying up and doing all the notes for this game because I will be in bed. That is truth. That is facts. I'm too old for this.
Yeah, but you work up at like 3 a.m. Okay, you
Yeah,
don't work.
I'm
You
at the
don't
gym at
wake
3
up.
a.m.
You don't work up at normal people times.
No, and like today, I was 3 a.m. and I'm probably going to bed at like 10 or 11 here.
So here's the most beautiful thing, man. You can watch replays on ESPN Plus.
Yeah, that is true. Next question. When do you think we're going to make Campana a permanent signing? Now, there was rumblings that it's going to happen soon through a couple other Inter Miami outlets we may or may not know or talk to. But how soon do you think it will be?
I think they'll. I think it'll happen before the end of the season. But I still think like 8 goals, impressive. Yes. There's been games where he struggles as well. There's been some goals of individual brilliance, and there's been some goals where, is really driven by the service to him. So I think we will. I hope we will, but I don't know if it'll happen until, we're probably like the 3/4 mark over through the season. What do you think?
I would agree. I also don't think I want to give 100% committal to him yet until I see a completely healthy Campana getting service from Pozuelo in the box and seeing how they both link up when they're both in full form. Yeah. Not saying Campana doesn't deserve it. I'm not saying that whatsoever. But if we're going to commit the limited amount of funds that we have, we need to make sure we're doing it with the best interest of the entire team rather than one individual player. And I do, like, I'm 95% confident he's worth it, but the other 5% of me wants to make sure we're spending that limited money in the right way. And
I think that's what it comes down to. Right. It's the commodity, the proven commodity, and the one that you like and you can see a future for. But I think there's probably going to be a shift in the front office and Chris Henderson to building this team around Pozuelo, right? I mean, he's the was an MVP in 2020. We obviously, I think everyone who listens to this podcast loves Campana. But yeah, I think you got to wait a little bit. He's, still he's injured. We don't know when that's going to be completed or he'll be back, to full health rather. So just something to keep an eye on. But I would imagine this gets done before the season wraps up.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of have to. I guess I would hate that we say, you know what, we're going to see if you want to loan him back out, and then they don't loan him, and then they sell him, and now we're up. We're kind of up shit creek. But I mean, hey, it is what it is. Next question. If you could take one player from Cincinnati to play on Inter Miami, who would you take and why?
Lucho Acosta. Easily. He's versatile. You can play him in the midfield, play him on the wing if you need to, play him up as a secondary striker, or actually just a striker. I mean, the dude can do pretty much anything from the midfield into the final third. That'd be my obvious answer. Would you agree with that, or you eyeing someone else?
I'm 50-50 because are we assuming that we're keeping the midfield as it is right now?
Yeah. I mean, I would just say implement them in there or throw them in on the wings.
So I'm going to give a different opinion on this one. I'm going to take Brenner because I think he could fit out on the wing, like you said, but we also have already touched on numerous times this episode how thin we are up front. If Campana goes down and Higuain retires, we have a young project to work on while we pay Campana, decent wages, and then allow Hundal and the rest of them to continue to get valuable experience here down at Inter Miami too. It also gives us a good rotation for, cup ties and, rest breaks on, a 7-game, 1 month hell schedule.
Yeah.
So
I'd see, I wouldn't take Brenner. Like, I understand he's had a few good games here, but like Brandon Vasquez has over doubled the goals that Brenner has right now. I mean, Vasquez is sitting on 11 right now. So if we're looking for someone like that, someone who wants to get into the U.S. men's national team, I'd go with that over what appears to be a disgruntled Brenner, because he definitely wanted to leave. Again, like, we don't know what his mindset is, but I'd probably bank on Vasquez for more of the long term in that.
But
you
have to consider the Brazilian connection. He's going to be down in Miami playing with the Brazilian connection. He's going to be playing with folks that understand him. He's not, I mean, let's be honest. And it's no knock against Cincinnati. I know folks from there, it's a great place, but it's not an ideal destination. Let's just be truthful. I would like to see what he does down our way.
I mean, I love Brazilians, you know that, but I'm still taking the guy who's over 2 times as many goals.
No, I agree. It's just sometimes you're wrong, and maybe one day you'll understand that. So
maybe.
Last question, and this is I'm going to forewarn you, this is a touchy one. I almost kind of left it out, but I wanted to get your opinions. Jay, what is your take on the level of toxicity that we are currently in, and why do you think? Trying to be careful how I word it. Why do you think it continues to grow, even as the team has clearly improved ever so slightly, I would say, but improved over the past season, 2 seasons?
I mean, like, from my experience down here, man, that's just how like Miami fans can be a lot of times. I mean, it's you see it. It's like the same handful of people just constantly spreading negativity. And then, when they win, they're silent. They don't have anything to say. I think it's just an attention thing and just a trolling thing. They probably think they're like looking cool, but really in the eyes of a lot of people, they look like losers. It's just, we're under sanctions. Like, we're literally under sanctions, and we have another year of sanctions, and everyone's like acting like we should be competitive against Barcelona. Like, if you actually thought we're going to be Barcelona, then you are just so far like gone in la la land. And then to think that we're going to go up to like NYCFC with our, record on the road, which is not great. And that's being generous with it. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what their expectations are. This is obviously, I think, as most rational people understand, this is going to be a trying time that we're trying to navigate our way through as best we can. And most people agree. Chris Henderson's done an amazing job. Phil Neville's done a pretty good job this season with working with what he's given and trying to instill, some different values into this team that have not been there in the previous 2 seasons. So yeah, of course it's going to be difficult. But I don't know. It's just toxic. Like there are those people in your life that you don't want to talk to when you're at a party, because all they are is toxic. They're negative. They're pessimists. They probably think they're so cool, but the actual reality is everyone's just like, yo, dude, like these dudes are losers. And I mean, it's really what it is. It's really what it is. Like, and I don't care. I don't need to sugarcoat it. Like, grow up. It's ridiculous, man. Support your team. We're going through hard times. But like, it doesn't matter, man. They're not the ones that are in the supporters section screaming their lungs out, supporting this team no matter what, giving all of their energy to this team. They're just like these little guys that like are on the outside. They're like the outliers who just want some attention for themselves. So, that's my take on it. Yeah.
I would have to say, I think the thing that sucks is like after a loss, especially a loss that I wasn't feeling pretty, any type of way about, it sucks that you don't even want to go on social media. Like, It gets to a point where, certain individuals, or you're going to see certain Twitter handles or whatever are going to pop up and be like, Neville out. This team sucks. Why can't this team do this? Why can't the blah, 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 blah.
Or they recycle the same articles like over and over, like article for like 3 months ago. It's like, who cares?
Yes. And I mean, I guess if we're just taking the top off, we're not sugarcoating it. Like, get over yourselves. Grow the fuck up. Like I would probably go out there and say that these folks are the type of people that go to the game and tailgate, but have never actually stepped foot inside the stadium and actually watch the team play. Because I mean, I'm right with that though. Like they probably don't even know. They probably couldn't name more than 4 people on the roster. If you took Gonzalo away from them, they probably couldn't name 3.
Yeah.
So it's frustrating because you see so many other teams that are able to put all their heart and soul in a unified manner towards the team, like Austin. Like I love what they do.
Or Cincinnati. You just ran through the stats of Cincinnati. Like as far as their attendance goes. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even like look down at the USL side. I know we talked about them last year because they were one of my favorite teams to watch. We actually got a shout out from their cow mascot, Forward Madison down in the USL side. They sell out every single night they play. Like, stop the negative shit. Pull up your bootstraps. Come out and support the boys.
Everyone was complaining that they wanted a soccer team so bad, and now they have a soccer team. Yeah. It's like where you're nowhere to be seen. Like it even leads to the question: like, does Miami even deserve this? Like, I mean, this team has brought so much to this community, and so there's some people out there that just completely disrespect it, and it's fair to be critical. You can be critical on a team. Yep. Phil's critical of himself. It's not like he's not and thinks he's the best ever. Like, yeah, I mean, are there some areas where we can improve, and there's some areas where we can kind of criticize the team? Sure, but that doesn't mean that we're just gonna do it every single day and then just recycle the same negativity. Just like they're pessimistic leeches. They're parasites. Yeah. That's what it is. Yeah. And I mean, I'm sorry if that offends you. I meant to. Cheers.
Yes. If you don't like what we're saying, you know where to find us.
Yes, exactly.
I will gladly fly down to Florida and we can have a one-on-one conversation. But we are going to end this on a little bit of a brighter note. Mr. Kinkton.
Yeah, bud.
You're going to be a dad again, aren't you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I am. Yes. Thank you. Little girl. I'm going to be a girl dad now. In January, early January. So Chloe and I are very excited. Quinn's also very excited. He's already setting aside toys that he wants to give to his new sister. Although I'm not sure if she's going to want his, monster truck toys, but hey, you never know. But yeah, man, thank you for that. Yeah.
Oh, of course. Just tell Chloe that Lucy and I are expecting a January 5th birthday, so Riley and the baby can share the same birthday there.
I'll tell Chloe to push really hard.
But well, just put that in the order sheet next. Like, just make sure that the doctors know it has to be. Exactly. But no, I know we missed it. The announcement came out a couple of weeks ago, and I know we missed it with various scheduling, and when we get to this time of the podcast, we're like, damn, we just got to wrap it up. But I wanted to make sure we definitely got it out there. But
I appreciate
with that bit. Yeah, of course, man. And with that bit of positivity, why don't you go ahead and take us home?
Yeah, man. Well, we always appreciate everyone listening to the Inter Miami podcast. And again, shout out to La Familia, the real ones, the ones that support this team, show up and are positive and happy with everything this team has provided to this community. You're the real MVPs, the best to do it in the MLS. You can find us on Twitter at InterMIA Podcast and on Instagram at InterMiami Podcast. Shout out to our amazing Discord community. Go ahead and join that. DM us. We'll send you a link in the link of all our shows, or the bio of our shows. And yeah, man, it's a good time. A lot of shenanigans daily, man. And as we end every single episode, Vamos Miami.
Vamos Miami.